One, according to the Doza, episode 25, and thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're with me, the incomparable Bun Johnson, and you know I appreciate that shit, man. Whether you listen in 6 years, 6 decades, 6 millenniums from the time this shit here dropped, man, you are appreciated. And it's something that, this shit hit kind of hit real close to home with this one, man. And I'm going to call this one my tipping point, you know? And I'm not, again, it's tough for me to take this stance, and I'm gonna explain why. Because I just think, as a whole, I think we just tired of being at this fucking point of having to tip every fucking body. You know what I'm saying? I think society has dragged out this tip culture to the point that we're missing the fucking point of tipping. And it's gonna be it's a loud group of people out there that say, man, it's your job, it's your responsibility to secure your income. You took that job, you know what it entailed. Yes, and it was entailed to you. You also know that a part of this job was tips. You got the right to not tip. And that's where I'm in this conundrum, because as a consumer, I don't often use my right to not tip, because I also have a job in which it's not worth it if a nigga don't tip. And I can recently think of an experience, and I'm putting this shit on blast. I went to Reserve down there on, I think that's 700. I mean, that's 400 South, 500 South Dearborn. It's new. It's where the old, can't think of the name of them niggas. They gone now. But it used to be an old pizza restaurant, and it's run by Mexicans. They display like chile quile burgers and shit. Like, it's a Mexican spin on American fare, just to keep it plain and simple. So on Taco Tuesday, I had a gang of my homies. They're like, man, let's go out. Ooh, and it was also no, what the fuck is that day? Cinco de Mayo. I know it ain't a real Mexican holiday. They don't celebrate that shit, but it's fun as an American. Like, I like tacos and tequila and shit. So, I've been seeing this spot around, like, posted and shit like that, always on Facebook. And I'm like, man, I work right down the street. I mean, we should go. I tell all the guys, what I'm saying, my homegirl and them, let's round up, let's go. We go. Terrible service, and I get it. It was busy. They had a lot of people upstairs and shit. We came for dinner. We didn't came to party, like, and they, God bless their heart, they did their best. They were kind people, but the service was bad. The food was bad. They did their best to try to make up for that. That's where it's not the conundrum of not tipping because the service was just awful. Motherfucking, I feel like you're supposed to tip. Like, regardless, because it's based on your service. So you choosing not to tip. Yeah, this was terrible. They were actually nice people. So my point was not to not lead a tip, but it was like my homegirl even had to snap me into the shit, because I guess for a minute now, my view been like kind of skewed on this situation, because I've been for the last 5 years having little jobs where tips on the side kind of make that shit worth it. Like, motherfucker look out for you, even as a bouncer sometimes in the club. Like the one I work at now, so not so much. But before, like, niggas was making like rent plus some off tips. Like, you went to work and you knew you was straight. So it made me change my whole perspective, because people, when they want to do something, they like what they doing, they gonna pay you. And if you do good at doing what you're doing, you don't even have to, ask. People gonna tip you. But I think COVID, I've been watching, because I watched a lot of shit about this shit, because I've been feeling like just recently this shit just going too far. And this is where the Reserve situation took a forefront. When I got the bill and shit, like, I was gonna treat everybody. It wasn't shit. My homegirl and my nigga Arab and Taco, when shit wrong, black people gonna instantly, oh hell no, we zero in on that bill. We was gonna pay for some shit we never even got. So we end up zeroing in on what we did, and then they didn't tell us that this was an extra charge for this and that. They just had to, okay, they give us a fucking margarita picture, like, we gonna make this shit right. The margaritas was, oh my god, which was amazing. I ain't gonna lie, they was like real alcohol filled. I went to pay the bill and shit, and it had to automatically, like, in Chicago, I see a lot of places that got 5 or more people. It was automatic gratuity. It was only 4 us, and they automatically put the gratuity in. But then they had a bar underneath the tip. If I'm not mistaken, gratuity is motherfucking tip. I ain't an English major, no shit. I didn't go around and finish college. But gratuity is tip already. So what the fuck am I adding another tip for? And you already took gratuity. You added gratuity to the text to the tab. The gratuity on the tab was already $25. So what the fuck am I adding a tip for? I went to a restaurant recently, and I catch this because it's another restaurant and I shout out to them Flacos, and they don't press you about no tip. It's kind of built into the system for Toast. If you go to any restaurants, like I like to support a lot of local businesses, and Toast got a monopoly on a lot of local businesses in Chicago because of the ease of access, and it's a point-driven reward system. So you spend with people, and for me, shit, I like to see a rebate on that. Like points matter and shit. So if I like you, I go back. I spend my money at Flacco's through the Toast app so I can get the points. And it got link cards, so it's never nothing to think about. When I go in, I'm usually at work, and I'm a bellman at a hotel, so I have cash. I always tip them. I never really sit down unless I bring friends and shit. We having like a happy hour after work. So, but I always feel a need to tip, and it's not always impressed upon me like, man, you need to tip. But if I go somewhere, that's an example of the service and everything, me being a frequent customer where I don't feel obligated. I fuck with them. I leave a tip. Even if it's not on the app, I throw it in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if I don't have no cash, I come through. I might leave $1. I'm picking my shit up, but I don't feel obligated to do so. You go to restaurants that you don't frequent. You can go to the fucking store now, and a motherfucker, and it's like, man, would you like to add? Why the fuck am I tipping you? Why the fuck am I like, what the fuck? And I asked, like, as a bellman that works at a hotel, I have coworkers who have done this for almost 40 years. And I asked them, I said, damn, do you feel as if the tipping culture that impacts your profession? Like, you literally have to live on tips. These niggas make $15.80. I make $15.80 an hour, my nigga. I need this job for benefits, but I also need the money when I come in for those benefits. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain hours where, like, my coworkers might not understand from my standpoint. This does not make sense to me. I was making $15 20 years ago. I can't, again, this is to supplement income. So I ain't gonna say I don't need this shit, but it has to make sense. And I got coworkers that ride the fuck out of customer because they done did a lot of work. They, you had a nigga fetch 40 bags, blood. And you don't feel it. And again, as a consumer, I understand we have taken these jobs, but the fact that this is not impressed upon or taught at home, that this is a system that is in place in America, and then you have people saying, well, your boss should make enough money, and he should you asking the consumer to squeeze, and I feel that as you asking the consumer to pay a couple extra dollars, ooh, you should ask your boss to give it to you. My nigga, this is an agreed upon industry. What the fuck are you talking about? Did you know that if a restaurant, I also work as a bouncer at a restaurant at a bar, and they're a restaurant and all that, and a lot of my coworkers rely on tips. Did you know that if you would ask those same restaurants to pick up the tab for the tip workers, that their salaries would balloon so much that you couldn't even afford an affordable meal that you already feel is out taxed? Like, it's a system of sharing, and I'm not saying I ain't saying it's a good system. I'm not saying it's a bad system. It is the system. And the fact that so many people can find a way to just circumvent it because you got that option is crazy. You got people who generationally teach that you shouldn't tip. You know what I'm saying? And then you think about the people who make a living out, and you think about people who think like this in the way they live. Like, some people come in instantly with an attitude to try to find a way to pick at you or ooh this. And I give a good ass example. At the hotel I work at, you as a bellman, you supposed to handle everybody's luggage. Like, nobody's supposed to touch the cart. But you get these certain group of people that come in. And I'm not gonna say they black, white, ain't gonna Mexican, Italian, nothing. It's just a group of people that got this mindset. Yeah, I got my kids with me. Ooh, this is my job, blood. You gonna take the cart upstairs. You're gonna make me come up there and get it back from you, costing me valuable situations in which I can make money. I'm not mad at you for not wanting to tip me. And I shouldn't have to bust down this whole explanation in order for you to be like, no, you can't use the cart. My nigga, this is for me to hustle. And at first I didn't see it like that until I started looking at my coworkers and why they stood on it so hard. And there's still times where I'll be like, man, I'll express upon you how bad we need this bitch back. Like, you can't go upstairs. If you want to load it up, load it. But I'm gonna take that shit upstairs. We gonna bring it back fast as hell. You don't owe me $1 or anything, but don't impede on my way to make $1 because you don't agree with how I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be no dickhead about the situation because you think I'm expecting a tip. Nigga, I don't give a fuck if you tip me or not. I'm not gonna denigrate myself for the chance to get $1 or $5 out of you. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I've had people pay me to speak to me, you know, hundreds of dollars for barely 30 minutes of my time. You think I give a fuck whether you tip, wherever I'm at in life, I have to remember that shit. Like, this is it's to remain cocky, but it's always to remember, like, at this point in time, if a motherfucker want to, they will. You still got to do your job. I'm going to do it with a smile because I have to. This is the job I accepted. But I also think we have to coach our kids in the next generation because it's sad seeing, like, people go out and not even just in the hotel situation, in the restaurant industry and all different, like, they feel the need to not tip. Like, motherfuckers doing excellent jobs, even if a motherfucker slip. That's not an excuse. If they were polite to you, if they were kind to you, they asked you every time they bought you, you know, they done everything they can. People make mistakes. Stop looking for reasons to not do right by people, bro. That shit fucked up. And I understand it started off me saying we was at our tipping point. COVID got us all tweaking because we were just tipping motherfuckers for, you know, normal shit. And they were going above and beyond in a time of crisis. So yes, a motherfucker deserve a tip, but this culture shouldn't be carrying on 5 years after the fact. Like, we tipping motherfuckers at Target now. Like, I ain't using Target per se because I can't say they had a tip option, but there's literally stores where you're like a motherfucker. Like, I'm not tipping you, blood. Like, no. And people talk about the history and it's rooted. It's not. This shit go beyond slavery. Like, it's been a, you know, an instrument in time built in forever. I think that I always want people to remember that you have the option to tip. Like, if you receive bad service, you don't feel the need to tip, you got that option. But also think about this: if you're going out to eat and you're going to sit at a table and you're going to occupy that station, you're going to sit there for a while. You might not feel the need to do that. You might not feel the need to pay it forward, but somebody else is dying for the opportunity to get there and support that establishment and its staff. So if you choose that option, please be courteous to move the fuck along. You don't have a right to stop people from making money because you don't believe in the way they're gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody come to your job and knock the dicks out your mouth. So don't look down on people because of the career path they choose, and don't also use that excuse that you got the right to always demean people because that don't give you the cool points or the moral high points. Like, you a fucking clown. You a real life clown. Think about the motherfucking bartenders as well. Like, people think not sitting at a table, this nigga still providing service to you. Blood, what the fuck? There's no situation in which you go into a service industry and you don't have $1 to, like, and certain people do get upset because you only gave them $1. You know, I've seen people like, oh man, I don't get. Nigga, a tip is a tip. You got a quarter in your pocket. Like, bro, this all I got. Sometimes for me personally, the gesture mean everything, even if you don't. Like, sometimes when people be like, nah, you know, I don't have any cash. I'm tapped out. I've literally heard people say I'm tapped out from this trip. All right, brother. Like, you know, just the simple fact that you acknowledge it. Like, bro, I'm still got to do this shit, my nigga. Like, be cool. You don't owe me a tip. And I tell everybody that. Like, I don't sit around with my hand out waiting for you to turn back around and give me something, bro. I literally walk off. If you're going to give it to me, you're going to give it to me. And maybe it's a pride thing, but I ain't, I'm too proud to beg for that little $1 or $2. I'm sorry. If you have it for me, then thank you. If you don't, move along. But let's not make this a situation in which we looking past motherfuckers because we don't feel like they should have it. Let's not get in the mode of judging people for the way they make money and scrutinizing it and then passing that shit along to your kids and like, no, you don't tip these people. And black people, to my people, you should still tip people. What the fuck? Even if just because you see me as a brother, I'm being cool. Like, motherfucker, you still got to tip, nigga. What the fuck? I don't get that. Like, and I'm still gonna offer you the same service I offer ours. I want to go above and beyond for my people, but that shit is sad. Like, that shit is very, very sad. You have that option. Please don't choose the dickhead option all the time. You got the right to. In certain situations, I don't tip. You know what I'm saying? I don't tip the Walmart motherfuckers until I get that shit because they be tweaking. I'm a homie. I tip the DoorDash niggas. You got to get them to bring it here. You know what I'm saying? I try to tip every Uber I get in, every whatever Lyft, whatever I ride. Even if I don't want to tip on the thing, I'm gonna pass you the cash. Like, because I feel as if it's only $5, like, because a motherfucker paying it for, I'm doing something. I ain't taking a $50 Uber. I took a $10, $15, $20 Uber, my nigga. I gave you $5. Just remember to pay it forward, man. It's tough out here, man. But I'll also be wise about who you tip, because then you get to this point, you at your tipping point, you tipped out. Everybody don't deserve a tip, but everybody don't deserve to be skipped on the tip, man. Whether you listen to 6 years, 6 months, 6 seconds, you know I appreciate you, blood. And you already know before I get up out of here, man. You are, man. It's 25, so we turning up. I've been waiting to get to this point. It's almost been a year since I started this podcast. So if you've reached episode 25 with me, I want to thank you for the journey. We going further and beyond. I ain't gonna speak on consistency. I always tell you that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But I'm here. We still here. We still moving. We still going strong. So until we, show love to your enemies. Why the Doza? Because it hurts them more.